This is Justin Case of American Newscape, joining our friend and mentor Joyce Rockwood for some enlightenment on how she teaches healing from the inside out. Joyce rejoins us today to share another natural health solution, taking control of your cravings. Hello, Joyce. Welcome back to American Newscape.
It's so great to be back.
Oh, we're grateful you came back. Getting right to it, please enlighten us about ending emotional eating by taking control of our cravings. What is emotional eating?
Yeah, if you think about it, probably everything we do with our eating is emotional, right? Because eating is a gratifying process. But when we're talking about emotional eating in this particular case, what we're talking about is the practice or the habit of eating large quantities of food, usually comfort food or junk foods even, highly processed foods, as I would say to my clients, in response to feelings of hunger. And believe it or not, I was doing some reading up of statistics for this interview with you. It's estimated, experts estimate that 75% of overeating is caused by our emotions.
Wow. Wow. So what are some of the reasons or causes behind emotional eating?
Yeah, I would say the most common things that I experience with my clients is feelings of inadequacy, being not enough, feelings of sadness, anxiety, stress. Stress probably is the number one. And anger. Anger can be also related to a lot of our habits and our emotional eating, as well as traumas. You know, we've all met people who've had some truly extraordinary lives at times, gone through very challenging, difficult experiences. And the trauma that we keep with us and that is unresolved in the body can trigger a lot of the emotional eating that most people suffer with.
So basically baggage.
Baggage, yeah, emotional baggage, right? And, really intriguing. I was digging in to try and get some more of the science because I love the numbers of things besides just the process of healing with the body. I think it's important to understand where people are coming from. There was a study done by the American Psychological Association. I'm actually going to read these numbers because I certainly didn't memorize them. 38% of adults that they surveyed were eating unhealthy foods for the past month because of stress. Half of those said they were doing it every week or even more frequently. 33% of the adults that they surveyed who overate or ate unhealthy foods because of stress, say it helped them to distract themselves from stress, which is interesting because if you're eating unhealthy foods, it's going to make you feel more stressed in the end because it's either increasing your blood pressure, it's creating some kind of cardiovascular issue, it's probably putting on weight, then you're not going to feel good about your body physically, you might be sluggish, you might not be motivated. It kind of is, the tail wagging the dog kind of thing there. And then 27% of adults say they eat to manage stress, which again, it's, you're perpetuating the same thing all over. If you're already dealing with stress and then you're eating in a way that's perpetuating even more of that, it's not really getting to the root cause. 1/3 of the people surveyed said that it's just a regular habit. 57% of overweight adults self-report frequent emotional eating. So these are some of the numbers. And I would just say, a lot of the other things that can contribute to emotional eating are conflicts in relationships, work stressors, and, things going on potentially with, children in the house. Those are just, again, some specific stressors. Fatigue, right? If you're eating foods that don't energize your body, and then you're crashing around 3, people are tending to grab for highly processed sugar foods or caffeine foods to give them a quick fix to get them to finish out their workday. Financial pressures can certainly be part of the problem, and just general health problems, right? If you're not feeling good in our body, we're trying to gratify our emotions through that 1 ounce taste bud, as I like to call it, the 1 ounce taste bud.
Okay, so why do you think people keep eating foods that make them feel so sick or weighed down?
Yeah, and it's curious. It's like if we know what to do, if we know better, why aren't we eating better? One of my friends had written a book many years ago. I think the title was "Why Are Intelligent People Overweight?" It's a good question. You know, there are so many amazing luminaries in our world that are highly intelligent who know better, and they still have weight issues. And it does make you wonder what is behind all of that. And they are great leaders. Doesn't mean that they're not great leaders, but they are still struggling with their own issues around their health and being truly vital on all those levels, besides just guiding others through intellect. So I think the reason is because so much of our food is loaded with highly addictive ingredients. You know, it's absolutely no wonder that one of the best selling processed foods out there in the world is a soda called Coca-Cola. And it has sugar and caffeine, two of the most highly addictive substances, right? Sugar, refined sugar, is going to give people that immediate gratification and send some messages to the brain. And then you have the caffeine, which is giving people that immediate kick and that sense of alert. Problem with these things is that they jack up the body very quickly and then they drop the body down just as quickly. So they're not really creating any kind of sustainability. They're also creating a lot of other problems with blood sugar, and those things can lead to, you know, being pre-diabetic or being someone who is diabetic. And then we have the other issues as well around, you know, someone just not knowing what to eat that will truly give them the proper energy that they're looking for, or they don't believe that something natural can elicit the right response in their body, or their food cravings are for healthy foods are not really going to be in front of them and obvious, because what happens when we eat all of these highly processed foods is our bodies want more and more of them. You know, it's like someone who's an alcoholic or someone who is a cocaine addict wants more of their drug. They're not going to be drawn to eating healthy food because their body is so poisoned. And so we have limited options for people or limited knowledge. Things that are healthy are not going to typically taste appealing to someone's body that is on the toxic or the septic side. And there's a process of detoxification that needs to take place in order for those healthier foods to actually be accepted and enjoyed and appreciated at the level that they are designed to. And in a body that is highly toxic, that is, you know, been dealing with addictive types of food tendencies for so many years, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge in the beginning unless someone is being properly guided through that process or coached through that process.
Well, that's why mentorship is so important, because there are lots of variables. I mean, some people maybe react to aspartame and think that they're doing the right thing, or other artificial sweeteners that can be doing them irreparable harm. And you make me question why I drink coffee in the afternoon. Now, I thought I enjoyed it. but it might be some emotional, yeah, there may be some emotional issues why I drink my coffee in the afternoon. But
there might be emotional issues, but my guess is that you're drinking it because you're looking for an energy boost. You could tell me.
Well, I think it's part of my keeping my day on an even plane, so to speak, or that at least that's how I justify it to myself. You may be exactly right. You're the expert, but I see where that mentorship is important. I mean, it's hard enough for me to stick to this without having some coaching, without having some encouragement, without, you know, I want to know why I'm doing this or why I shouldn't be doing that. And that's where you can come in.
Well, I would like to say this, because I will bet that 9 out of 10 people watching this interview are probably coffee drinkers, just based on the, you know, global consumption of this very popular beverage. Now, I'm proud to say that I think the only time I ever drank coffee in my life, I did not drink it in college, but I drank it when I was a really young girl, just to kind of feel like I was mixing with the adults when my mom and dad had some friends over the house. And I used to, you know, eat coffee flavored ice cream when I was a kid too. But I don't drink coffee these days. And the reason for that is because my energy is so sustainable through more natural foods and through vegetable juices that are not going to undermine my bone health. So let me dive into what I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
So when I first meet my clients, a lot of times they'll say things to me like, so Joyce, you're going to probably tell me that I shouldn't be having my Starbucks in the afternoon, or why is coffee unhealthy? So here's the thing. Coffee is a highly acidic beverage. It's the antithesis of the pH balance that we're trying to create in the body, or, allow in the body, to foster in the body. And when we have a high level of acidity in the body, it means that our alkaline pool has to somehow figure out a way to neutralize this stuff. And so if you're not putting in enough alkaline foods into the body, that alkaline pool at some point is going to get extremely challenged, very diminished. And then your body's like, well, where am I going to get this alkalinity from? Because there's more coffee coming in, but there's not enough string beans and juices and big salads and mangoes. And so the body starts to pull those minerals from the bones. Okay, that's a problem. And that is where, brittle bone disease comes in, osteoporosis and things of that nature, bone density issues. I mean, most even medical doctors that are, bone doctors will typically even tell their patients that they should stop drinking coffee once their bone density gets to, very scary levels. So I'll just say this. If you're drinking coffee on a regular basis, I never tell my clients they can't drink it anymore. But what I do, and yes, I just said do.
Yes,
what I do with my clients is I support them with bringing in the things that are going to help them feel like they are more properly nourishing their body, more properly detoxifying their body, so that they can more naturally rejuvenate their body. And it's a process. But we do it gradually, just like we transition from first gear to second in the car. We don't go from first to third. It's a really beautiful thing for me to hear a client come to me a week after I've started working with them and say, I know you're not going to believe this, but I really didn't want my coffee this morning. Because the more juices that we take into the system, the more we alkalinize that acidity, the more we allow the body the opportunity to experience these healthy foods in a new environment. And the more that we're able to sort of, quote unquote, take out the garbage of the accumulation, it allows room for the body to truly enjoy the foods that it's intended to consume that really do rejuvenate our bodies on a cellular level.
Wow. So other than
So you can start drinking some of the juices and see what happens.
Well, the counterbalances, yes. Well, other than coffee, what other common foods do we eat for emotional gratification?
Well, I would say the most common foods are the sugars, right? Candy bars, cookies, cakes, ice cream. Refined sugar is not necessarily the devil or the devil. Refined sugar is not necessarily the biggest issue here. The biggest issue is the combinations of the foods that it's blended with or mixed with. So flour, milk, eggs, butter, cream, those kinds of things, and the highly processed versions of them. When you put all of those things together, it creates a bubbling cauldron of acidity in the body, inflammation, and then there's all of this addiction that tends to follow. And then you've got all the snacks. People love their chips, their potato chips and their pirate booty and all of these things. Look, there are healthier versions of snacks that one can eat. It's not like you can never eat snacks again in your life, but the goal here is to elevate the quality of the ingredients that you're putting in your body and be aware of them, because most of the stuff on the market is so full of funny colors and dyes and preservatives that it creates so much of an imbalance in the microbiome. We don't really have a shot. A lot of the addiction that we're dealing with food cravings and emotional eating is because the foods that we've been eating for most of our life are undermining that balance of the microbiome, suffocating the serotonin, for those who love alliteration. And the serotonin is the neurotransmitter that's triggered 95%, as we know in the gut from previous interviews we've done. Thank you very much. And it needs to get delivered to the brain. And the reason that's important is because that's the hormone that triggers the happy feelings in your body. If you're eating foods that are constantly suffocating your serotonin, you will never truly naturally feel happy. And if you're eating foods that are highly processed, you're actually undermining the normal feeding process of the microbiome. And then you never really feel nourished and you still feel hungry. You don't feel happy. You don't feel nourished. You don't feel hungry. The normal cause of action is to grab for more food. So I help my clients break that vicious cycle by just transitioning them slowly with some really simple daily changes in their habits.
So that's how you help your clients overcome the emotional eating and get on the path to a positive chemistry in the body and just feeling better about themselves.
Yeah, I love the fact that you brought in that word chemistry. I should have used that myself a lot earlier on in the interview. We are literally changing human biochemistry through the foods that we consume. And that is really what it's all about, is changing your chemistry. Our bodies are a pool of interactions and chemical reactions. And so when we learn how to really properly nourish our bodies in that capacity with more diversity of the plants and eating the rainbow, as I like to say, then it's just a natural occurrence. And, you know, the scariest thing for most of my clients, I would say, or anyone out there who's listening, if you're dealing with any food addiction, if you're dealing with any overeating, emotional eating, binging, things of that nature, I totally get it, because I used to love eating potato chips and really believed there was an invisible string that led one to the next, to the next. But I'll say this. The process of unwinding these habits is not as hard or challenging as you think. The second we begin to bring the foods in that really do support that serotonin and rebuilding, you start to feel better in your body. You make healthier changes. You make healthier choices. All of a sudden, you're craving big salads. You're buying more from the produce aisle than you ever did before. You're waking up to new opportunities. And you realize that your food no longer has such a huge hold on you, and you don't have to walk around with all these, you know, processed food handcuffs on for the rest of your life. It is so liberating and so freeing to feel that in your body. That's one of the most gratifying things that I get to witness every single time.
Well, the salad not only looks better on the produce aisle, it actually tastes better while you eat it.
This is true. This is so true. I mean, I crave big salads like like most people crave donuts. I crave salads. And I think out there who's listening, you know, I can offer some simple tips. But the thing for most people that's scary about taking the first is this change, right? It's like, oh, I have to change what I'm doing. I'm not going to be able to eat my, when can I eat those chocolate chip cookies? How does that fit in the mix? The truth is that you will be able to eat your chocolate chip cookies, or as I will help you have, you know, healthier versions of those cookies that taste up. I will help you to understand where to eat them at what point of the day is most optimum, so that you don't feel like you've just, you know, you're drained. If you're eating them at 3 o'clock, it might be challenging because you're going to feel drained and you're going to feel lethargic, and you might start to feel some guilt around that. But I'll help you not only understand, like, it's what you're eating, but again, it's how you're eating it that makes a huge, huge difference. And I will tell you that in my freebies, I've got lots of recipes. They do include vegan chocolate chip cookies, chocolate cake, all of these vegan ice cream. So I truly believe that you can eat these types of foods, but it's having healthier versions of them that actually have very few ingredients, that are super simple to make. And the whole point, Justin, of us eating and nourishing our body is to not only nourish on a cellular level, but it's to nourish our emotions as well. I truly do believe that anyone who's eating currently now for emotional gratification is not really getting emotionally gratified in the end if they're eating processed foods. So I'm going to make it so simple for you, because I make detox easy.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, for anyone listening who wants some tips on overcoming their emotional eating, what would you suggest?
Well, first of all, I believe you can heal your body naturally and overcome your emotional eating by focusing on two of the most overlooked aspects of health, which are gut health and detoxification. And I want you to believe it too. So the first step is believing that you can overcome whatever it is that has been a big struggle for you, even if it's been a lifelong struggle, because I work with clients all of the time who've been there. And so one of the things I would suggest is just start reading the ingredients of the chips that you're choosing, right? So if you're just starting out and you want to move away from Fritos and Doritos and things like that, just know that if you start going into the health food store, go into that chip aisle. And one of the things I love to give as a suggestion to my clients are the coconut chips that are out now. They're super clean, they're crunchy, they're a healthy fat. People love them, and that's a huge fan favorite. And then there's a video that I've actually created on a whole bunch of other healthy options for you that I personally approve and tasted and tested myself. So we're going to make sure that you can access that video of other healthy chips and snacks right below this particular interview today.
Wow. Do you have one last parting thought for us, Joyce?
I actually wanted to quickly share this study on cinnamon. You know, one of the things that I'm so grateful for is that I get to guide my clients now with these really powerful tools with essential oils. And the reason I love these beautiful drops so much is because they work. They're scientifically proven, they're medical grade, and they really do allow you to have some huge changes in between the coaching calls that we might have. So I was reading this one study particularly on cinnamon, which is an oil that's in this blend that my clients love because it's a metabolic blend. It helps to balance the metabolism, balance your hunger cravings, help you to have healthier food cravings, reduce inflammation, give you really fresh breath. And there was a study done that showed daily supplementation with common cinnamon, or we call it cinnamon bark actually, in the form of a 1,000 milligram capsule twice a day resulted in significantly positive effects on healthy blood sugar metabolism than a placebo. Now I'm reading this study because it's particular and I don't want to screw it up. The most interesting discovery of this study was that these benefits appeared in many cases to continue after, this is the key part here, after the participants in the trial group stopped taking the supplement, suggesting possible gene expression and other changes at the cellular level. I love this. Aimed at exploring the mechanisms, behind these mysterious long-term metabolic and healthy blood sugar supporting effects. Researchers focused their efforts towards something called SIRT1, which is a protein that is involved in the healthy metabolism of sugars and fats, as well as various components of biological aging. So in summary, this finding suggests that consumption of cinnamon bark, there it is, even in really small amounts, trace amounts, may have even more profound effects on healthy blood sugar metabolism than we initially thought. And it may even induce gene expression, holla, which could positively influence biological aging. So I want you to know that there's always a tool that we can work with to support you no matter what you may be going through, because I truly do believe that you have the power, no matter what anyone has ever told you prior, to heal your body naturally from the inside out. And that is the way in which I guide my clients, and I would guide you the same way, because helping you to experience a life of freedom so you can make the biggest difference in the lives of others is what I do and who I am.
Wow. This has been Justin Case and Joyce Rockwood sharing a glimpse into taking control of your cravings. Thanks for joining us. Remember, free gifts, additional information, and Joyce's links are provided in the video's Read More. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel and consider joining Joyce in her journey.